So let me tell you a little story about last Friday, which would be 2 days ago. Got this passenger, he's kind of a nut. Tries to get on my bus. I notice he has a machete attached to his backpack. He's kind of a homeless old kook who likes to carry concealed weapons. So I stop him from getting on my bus. I call my dispatcher and say, hey, this guy's got a machete. So they make the right call and say, well, no weapons on the bus, so he ain't getting on with that machete. So I tell him to get rid of the machete or he's not riding. So he says, don't go anywhere. I'll get rid of the machete. He takes the machete and he starts walking over to this place called the Aqua Day Salon and Spa. Bunch of feel-good people inside doing tempering stuff. He's walking up to the front door with a machete in his hand. I can only assume to ask them to hold on to it so he can ride the bus. Well, I know that's not going to work out. So I call my dispatcher back and say, hey, this is what's happening. And I'm not sticking around to wait for him to come back. So they said, go ahead and take off. So I take off. So I come back about an hour later. He ain't at the stop no more. So I'm thinking that's a good thing, right? But I don't know what he's done with that machete, because I'm sure the people at the spa didn't take the machete and hold on to it for him until he could get back to it. So I'm figuring it's probably in his backpack or something. So I figure if I see this guy, I'm just going to go right on past him, because I don't want to have to deal with him pulling a machete out in the middle of a bus ride and start hacking people up or coming after me or something. So I get to another bus stop near a school that's in this town here. And there's a passenger waiting there with a bicycle. And here's that nut with the backpack. Well, I got to stop for the other passenger. I can't just go past him. So I pull over and I call the Anderson Police Department. I call the dispatch and have them get hold of the Anderson Police Department because I want this guy's stuff searched. I can't do it. I can't ask him to open his bags. That's the rules. So, police department shows up. I tell them what's going on. They say, hey, the only way you're going to ride this bus is if you give us permission to look through your stuff and to search it. He says, go ahead. I got nothing to hide. Got nothing on me. And he reaches into his right side coat pocket, inside his pocket, and he pulls out this 4.5-inch lock blade, folded up. And he's got nothing else on him. The cops take the knife. He's got the receipt for the machete because he walked over to the police department and turned it in so he could ride the bus. Guy's got nuts. He's got brass balls, I'll tell you that. So off we go. The passenger with the bike's on the bus. This nut's on the bus. And he immediately starts talking into his cell phone, recording the events of his day, which include getting kidnapped, what else did he say? Oh, he talked about how he had to give up his machete, how the cops stole things out of his pocket while they were searching him, and how somebody came up behind him with ether and knocked him out and stole his wallet, which, by the way, he had in his back pocket when the cops searched him. And this went on for about 2/3 of the trip back into town, where I finally got rid of him. And then he went up to the dispatch window and started yelling at her. And the other guy there's a guy in there that does the maintenance, and he was about to tell the guy to go take a flying leap and get out of there. And he walked off on his own. He had to go use the bathroom, and he talked him into unlocking the bathroom so he could use it. And he was only in there a minute or so, and he didn't tear nothing up, and he went on his way. So that's one of many, many stories that go on here at my job. A couple years ago, as a matter of fact, he wrote a letter in detail about how to plant bombs behind the toilets at the Sacramento airport. And he wrote his name on the bottom of it, signed it, put his phone number, and gave it to a dispatcher that I work with. And the dispatcher gave it to the police department, and the police department called Homeland Security. Well, they picked the guy up, and they took him back to Sacramento, and they put him in the nut house for several months. And then they let him out and warned us that he was out. And he didn't show up for about a year. And then he showed up, and now he's back. He's been back for a few months, and he's just as disruptive as he always was, and just as nutty as he always was. And now he's carrying weapons. Yahoo! So that's my world on this February 14th. Thought I'd share that story with all of you.